so nice to meet you guys, and so nice to meet a fellow Maggie. That very rarely ever happens to me.
Great name. Lovely to meet you.
I'm really left out. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I was excited to see that it was that you play a Maggie who owns a record store, because sitting just off camera here, I have a very large collection of vinyl records. So I was like, oh, she's just playing me then.
Right. I love hearing this.
Oh, it's amazing. But you both obviously were in the show in the first season. You played quite small roles. Now you've come back in a much bigger capacity. So, what was that like, getting to be a bigger part of the story?
Yeah, just really extraordinary and absolutely wonderful. Neil emailed both of us separately in lockdown, actually, at a time when honestly nothing was happening, it seemed. And I couldn't imagine a time when we'd be able to have a crew together and a whole bunch of actors together. So the fact that he had that in his mind, that he was going to be spending his time writing season 2, writing a part for me, calling her the best name ever, Maggie. It was just a gift in itself. And then, so kind of the fact that we even got to make it in itself is extraordinary. But I think we've really made these 6 episodes that are completely beautiful, actually. And the stories that we get to tell and the adventures we get to go on is just wonderful. Yeah, couldn't have seen that coming.
Couldn't see that coming. And as actresses, you spend a certain amount of time on a show. And although playing the nuns was just brilliant, because we were also fans of the books, so we knew the kind of influence that they had in the plot. We were there for quite a relatively small amount of time, and in this version of the world, we have we've never left. Yeah, so we've got this whole journey through, which is really nice, because we set the tone in the first one for the whole tone of the show, and that carries on in this one, but we're different characters, which is great.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you got an email from Neil Gaiman about this, but how do you react when Neil Gaiman, of all people, emails you and says, I'm going to put you in the second season of this show, and it's going to be a character specifically tailored to you and named after you. That must be insane, right?
Yes. Yeah. I immediately cried. What was your reaction?
It was 2:00 in the morning, because some time difference was occurring. So I was a little bit like, well, that's clearly somebody else, or some weird joke going on. And but I mean, even the first time around was just as mad.
Yeah.
So I think it's because we were fans already. I think would probably react the same way you would if you were a fan asked to do the same thing.
And you obviously then you cry or think it's not you, and then you immediately say, "But yes, please."
And then you have to get professional and do it properly.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's one of my most favorite gifts I've ever been given.
Did it get it all confusing on set, being named the same thing as your character? Because I can imagine, because I never hear the name Maggie, I would just be going, yes to everything.
Yep.
That's the thing. You don't hear your name said that often. And especially when you're an actor, you're referred to as the character's name. Yeah. So first of all, your name's being bandied around, and then people would get us mixed up.
Yeah. They would,
even though we had our own names.
Yeah. And we just become Maggie and Nina, like it was one word. Which I quite liked,
That works, it's fine.
Could be a double act that tours the world.
Yeah. And you two get quite a fun subplot, because you do get to be the characters that Aziraphale and Crowley are kind of trying to 4 weddings and a funeral a bit, like you're in your own little rom-com. So I was curious, do you guys have favorite rom-coms? I know, Nina, you were in Love Actually, which is one of my personal favorites. But
there we are.
There you go. When Harry Met Sally that's a rom-com, right? I mean, it's just perfect. To me, it's kind of, I just love it so much. It is my absolute favorite of all time.
I really like The Wedding Singer.
Do you?
It starts and I start to cry. Don't know why. Don't know why. Love that.
But I did actually watch Notting Hill the other day as well, and I'd sort of forgotten how completely brilliant that is too. I really enjoyed it.
Very good choices.
Thanks very much.
But, Nina, I know you also worked with Michael Sheen and David Tennant on stage, I assume sort of between seasons of this show. So working with them on that and working with them on this, how different is that?
Well, when we first did stage, that was right in lockdown. So that was, no one met anyone. We were all on Zoom. I'd actually worked with both of them before in real life, so I knew what they looked like in 3D. And then Yeah, and it's been three series since, but each one has sort of grown out of just Zoom. So that was nice. They're pretty similar to how you see them. What you see is what you get with them. They're very, very cool dudes.
And I have one final question for you two, and that is the fact that one of the most iconic parts of Good Omens is Crowley's Bentley, which is cursed to play nothing but Queen songs forever and ever and ever. So I'm curious what your favorite Queen song is.
Oh,
I mean, I love Don't Stop Me Now, and I love Killer Queen, and I love and I also love Those Were the Days of Our Love.
Yes.
That always makes me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's still some really beautiful little Queen snippets quite cleverly used in season 2.
Yeah, keep your ears open.
Be on the watch for that. It's really clever.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I'm so excited to meet another Maggie. Thank you so much.